Yo, what is the deal, everybody? What is the deal? Welcome to another Raider Nation Unlimited. I'm your man, Wasted Talent. Shout out to everybody in the chat. It's been a while. Get wasted with your brother, Wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Shout out to everybody on the team, bro. My guy Anthony's in the place. Rorschach Raider is in the place. 2-4, my dog. Steve Harbor is in the place, man. My guy Intel is in the place. The GOAT. My guy Ira Jackson is in the place. Oh, my God. Yes, we are getting close to some football, y'all. Y'all, am I sounding good? Am I sounding good? Is everything cool? Everything cool? How does the mic sound, everybody? We got over 100 in the room. Get wasted with your brother, Wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Yeah, man, it's been a weird couple of days, man. But we back in the place, y'all. Shout out to everybody over on Twitter. Everybody that's in the place to be. But real quick, I need y'all to understand something. We sounding great, right? Good to go then. Listen, man, we got a lot to get into, man. Look, I have been kind of reluctant to talk about some of the things we're going to talk about here today because it's like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's out there, man, that is man, it's real clickbaity. You know what I'm saying? It's real clickbaity, but it's okay, right? Because look, we get a chance to chop it up. The first thing I want to get into today, and if I'm honest, it's one of the major kind of linchpins to this season, right? A lot of people have kind of moved on. They don't really want to talk about it, but we got a little insight from Vinny Bonsignore from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Shout out to Vinny B. And I'm going to tell you my opinions on, you know, what I think of his report, right? But let's get into it, right? Now, we all know that Christian Wilkins was our $110 million signing from last year in the Ghost of Raider Pass coupon Tom Telesco. We made him the priority in free agency last year. We got the big fish. And guess what? Right after we got the big fish, in true Raider fashion, he got hurt, right? Now, Wilkins got hurt early last season, I think game 5, and you would think that it would have been an 8 to 12 week situation and he'd be back by now, but contrary to popular belief, that did not happen, right? And Wilkins was recently spotted walking in a walking boot again in like I think it was at a golf tournament with some of his teammates. And look, there's no details yet about his recovery time. Vinny B kind of laid out some real sound logic. We're going to get into it, right? But on Thursday's episode of Vegas Nation podcast, he said the initial injury found out that he hurt himself earlier in the game and he played through it. Now, I knew this early. I reported this months ago, right? He said he played through it until he got you got to come off the field. No more snaps, right? So playing through an injury is not great for the long-term health of a player, right? Especially when it's a small bone and it's a big man with a foot injury, right? That is never a good thing. This is why I told you guys this thing can drag on, right? So he gets surgery the very next day, like literally the next day, which is kind of unusual. Now, this is what Vinny B is saying. I am just reading the report, right? He says, comes to the end of the season. He was on target to come back, and Bonsignore said it was basically a clear path for him to be ready for OTAs and minicamp and all those things, right? But apparently he hasn't been there. And the news that Wilkins must have suffered a setback along the way that kept him out of the Raiders offseason program Bonsier confirmed later, is obviously true. Of course, he suffered a setback, right? Now, the original injury was from 8 to 10 weeks, and he said he could have rebroken the initial injury, and there's usually a screw inside that's inserted, and that could have been broken either case, which means we're looking at an 8 to 12 week rehab. Now, while the details about this is murky, what I will say is this, right? Obviously, we know that Christian Wilkins had to have his foot redone. Now, they don't have to tell us just yet because it's the offseason, right? So it's not a situation where they have to be forthright and forthcoming with everybody out there in Raider Nation. But what I would tell you about Jones fractures, and I've gone on to this ad nauseum, right? What I will tell you is that however long it takes, when you talk about a big man that has to plant and kind of, generate power off of his base, I'm going to be real with you. I don't think that we see Christian Wilkins back to the middle of the season. To the middle of the season, right? So now you got to look at it from this prism, right? You have certain people like Derrick Henry who had this exact same injury, who came back. He's a running back, right? Big guy, got a cut, and it works. But then I go back to basketball. When I think of injuries like this, microfracture stuff with the knees, small bones, screws to kind of keep the structural integrity of the bone, I get worried when it comes to a 300-pound guy, right? Now, look, we all know that this is something that we spoke about, but the fact that Vinny's in the building, felt like I want to highlight that article really quickly, and I wanted to kind of get y'all opinion on whether you guys are depending on Christian Wilkins to come back. Because listen, if it gets to the middle of the season and he's not healthy, now you start going into a situation of where, does it make sense to keep him after this? Does it make sense to keep Christian Wilkins after this? Right now, you got Tonka Hemingway, you got JJ Pegues, right? The Raiders signed Adam Butler. Adam Butler played pretty well. He held it down. Now, for me, my question is that does it make sense to have a person that has a microfracture situation when you can get out of the deal next year for relatively little to no dead money? And a lot of people say, like, listen, if he has the surgery he's done for the season, that doesn't necessarily mean he's done for the season, right? Like, it all depends on when he had the surgery. And that's where the delineation of whether his season is over or not, right? Like, if he had the surgery 2 months ago, and this is what we need to find out. If he had the surgery 2 months ago, right, that's 8 weeks. So then he'd be on a timeline of another month, and that would kind of take him into like the tail end of the off season, right? Because then you would be into August, and then you have to get into football shape and be ready to rock and roll. So that would take you probably into about week 3 or 4. That's what, and that's from the most optimistic place that I can come from. Now, we have to look at it from this prism. Last year, you had a situation where he got hurt earlier in the season. This should be done already. I'm going to be honest with you. If Christian Wilkins is not able to take a snap this year for the Raiders, I'm not signing up for another helping of Christian Wilkins. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm moving on. I'm allocating those resources to another place. I mean, that is pretty much, where I'm looking at this. Shout out to everybody in the room. We got almost 300. We got to get this thing rocking and rolling. Listen, your boy's been out of the algorithm. A lot going on, man. A lot going on, man. Now, listen, my guy, hold on. Cisco Duarte, availability is the best ability. And I know what you mean to say. And yeah, that's 100% right. But see, also coupled with that, you have to look at the contractual obligations to the team. Now, next year, the Raiders have a ton of dead cap money coming off, right? And hopefully, the trajectory that the Raiders are going, right? When you start talking about this roster, when you think about where this team can go, I think the basement is 7 wins. I think the ceiling could be around 11, right? And if the Raiders are in a situation where they are like in mediocrity hell or in the middle, that next year is the year that you want to spend big in free agents. That's clear. That's clear. That's to me, I'm red circling next year. I'm going to start looking at some of the people. We don't know who the free agents are definitely going to be next year, but I think it's time that we start looking into that, right? And it sucks, man, because like my man Jay Marshall said, man, Raiders finally make a splash for a DT. Been a bleak position over the years and cannot catch a break, man. Yeah. But you know what? Listen, man, we couldn't catch a break in that prism, but we caught a lot of breaks this offseason, and we caught a lot of breaks with some of these draft picks, man. Some of the things I'm hearing. I'm hearing that Dante Thornton is out there running with the ones. I know it's very early and stuff like that. Right now, everybody's away, but they're saying Dante Thornton might be a guy that comes out there and might take Trey Tucker's job, man. I mean, but I needed to ask you guys about that, right? What do you guys think, man? And yo, we got Cisco Duarte becoming a new YouTube member. Oh my God. This is what this is all about, yo. Joining the Wasted Talent Army. My guy Roshak, man. I show up here to actually hear strong opinions. Yo, I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. And I don't know how strong that opinion is, man. But look, man, for me, I am the kind of person where, I feel like when you have a situation where you have an injury-prone, big contract guy, I just think now the energy is going in a way where you can't try to, rehabilitate that situation, right? I feel like you move on and you go get the next younger guy at that position, right? And try to make sense of all of that. But yo, let's move on, right? We are going to move on. Salute to all of y'all. So guys, what do you guys think about, some of the stuff that, and if you guys looking at the thumbnail, man, what do you guys think about the Patrick Mahomes interview with Kay Adams on Good Morning Football? He spoke a few things about, Max Crosby, but that's not really what I wanted to get into today, right? I really want to get into the fact that the Chiefs QB has revealed that he's been talking to Tom Brady a good amount this offseason. Like, and he said, what Brady tells him is between them, right? But they have seemed to develop quite a relationship. And he goes, I got to keep secrets, But he goes, he always talks about being yourself. He thinks that, and he thinks that, which I truly believe too. He said, guys can spot when you're not too authentic. Guys can tell when you're not putting in work, and that's something he did every single day. And that's why guys respect him so much. And, he started talking about his legacy and just pretty much giving Patrick Mahomes game. Now, look, man, I'm going to be real with you. If I'm Mark Davis, right, and I don't know this to be true, if I'm Mark Davis, I'm absolutely livid that one of my owners that are on my team is giving game to my biggest rival. Now, listen, for me, and look, this, I truly believe this, right? I'm not trying to string you guys along for some clickbait fest. I was one of the people who said, listen, let's let go of the Tom Brady hate, right? It was a bad call. He didn't make the call himself. Yeah, we could hate him because he's on another team, but now he's with the Raiders. Let's just accept him and hope that he can help this team out, right? But the problem for me is now you have a guy that is in the ownership group that, to me, if they have that kind of relationship, that's a problem for me as a fan. That's a problem for me as a pundit of the Raiders, because I have a guy at the top of my organization. If you even give this guy a glass of water if he needs it, it is a problem. This is the kind of stuff, and I know Brady doesn't care, right? But this is the kind of stuff that people who never wanted Brady to have anything to do with this organization were afraid of. Now, I know he's not really a big part of the situation here, right? Like, I think that he's a big part of probably the decision-making process from a football perspective when Mark Davis gets involved. I think now at this point, things have been handed off to John Spytek and Pete Carroll. But, yo, man, I feel like we got a fox in the hen house here. I don't like it. And I don't give a damn what anybody says. I don't like it. It's a conflict of interest. If you're an owner of the Raiders and you're down with the Raiders and you want to see the Raiders win and everybody is, lauding you, praising you, you come into the Raider organization, people are clapping, all of this crap, and you're going to go and help out Patrick effing Mahomes? Patrick effing Mahomes. Bro, not Justin Herbert, not Bo Nix, bum ass. Patrick Mahomes. Am I tripping? I got a problem with this. I have a humongous problem with this. There should be a line drawn in the sand here. I don't like it. I mean, this guy's been killing us. Why the hell you want to help him out? Look, man. Do me a favor. You guys, if y'all got a problem with this, you give me a 1 in the chat. If you think I'm tripping, you give me a 2. Now, and some people can say this is just 2 quarterbacks professionally, all this other crap. No. No. This is Patrick Mahomes here, bro. You shouldn't even be cordial with him. My guy, Eric. So I look at Brady the same way I saw Shaq when he brought a piece of the Kings. Brady not really involved with us. Josie, Waste, I think you're showing your age. We old guys, that's the way we always saw it. Younger generation don't see it that way. But see, you can't say that about Tom Brady because Tom Brady is in my generation. Directly. Tom Brady's in my generation, bro. 1,000%. So, yeah, you damn right I see it that way. All of this stuff all the way around. Now, listen, I think that there's a little bit of sleight of the hand here. There's some sleight of the hand here, right? Because they talk about how, Brady's not a big part of things, right? But then in the same token, right, when it comes to the quarterback decisions, there are certain quarterback decisions that they have kind of placed in the lap of Brady. So the thing about a lot of this stuff, which for me is very, very confusing, is how much stroke does this man have in that building? How much stroke? How much stroke? Because look, I see a couple of twos and that you guys think I'm tripping. And I need for you guys to tell me why I'm tripping, yo. I need to, yo. Make me know and understand why I'm tripping. My guy Intel, it's a different world. Tight end you, Kelsey helps Bowers, Max helps Bosa, etc. Pass rush you. It's not like the old days, homie. But see, dog, and Intel, this is why I got to push back on you, bro. I don't view it from that prism, bro. Like when you talk about guys that are defensive ends helping each other, tight ends that are helping each other and getting better at their craft and all that stuff in the offseason, that's one thing, right? I'm talking about a guy that is in charge of making decisions in a sense, right? That is a guy that's he has a seat at the table of the pantheon of people who make decisions for the Raiders. Players and guys that are congruent speaking to each other is not an issue for me. Because ultimately, you can help guys out and you can get him some game. But ultimately, you are the one who needs to take those hits. You're the one who's going to go out there and play that game. And you have a direct effect on the process in a sense, right? But when you're a Tom Brady, you're in the ownership group. You got to represent that shield in a different way. Why are are you a part of an ownership for one team and you're helping another? Especially the team that you're trying to overcome. It's goofball shit. I don't like it. Just by virtue of the fact that you're even somewhat cordial with bruh, and you would actually take a call with him, you should be sprinkling game on the quarterback in your effing building. My guy J-Ro, Brady don't care. He's looking for the ROI. And if it's that, then they need to stop parading him around like that then. Seriously, I don't like it, man. And this is one of the only things that I've been able to get on my soapbox about all offseason. All of Raider Nation needs to relax. Tom can talk to whoever the hell he wants. It's not a big deal, man. He's a broadcaster that calls NFL games. He's going to talk to everybody on the field eventually. Yeah, but is he trying to help them get better? Terry McCaffrey. I mean, are you related to the McCaffreys? Talking that crap, Terry. The F up out of here with that crap. I don't want to hear it. I don't effing like it, Terry. And I can believe it. I can't believe how Raider Nation goes absolutely crazy over something that it doesn't even matter whatsoever. Just worry about football and not that Patriot loser Brady is talking to. This is football, the game within the game, Terry. The game within the game. Let me tell you something. I don't trust that effing Patrick Mahomes. I don't want nobody to help him. I don't want anybody. I want to see him slammed on his back like the jabroni he is. And I don't give a damn if you guys think I'm crazy or not. I hate Patrick Mahomes with the fire of 1,000 suns. F him. F him. The F is wrong with you, Terry.
What's the tutorial that says you know what the fuck you doing?
The F up out of here. Johnny Wade. You ain't tripping. If Brady has a stroke, if he actually cared about beyond money, why he never repping us? He never wearing the shield. It's my guy Johnny Wade in a place, man. Johnny Wade in a place. Nightmare Raider podcast. Patrick Mahomes is Raiders' enemy number one. Brady shouldn't have anything to do with them. That isn't contractually mandatory, point blank, period. That's a no-go for the nation. Shout out to my guy, Terry McCaffrey. Terry McCaffrey, listen, this is the reason why Raider Nation Unlimited is a great show. I'm going to pat myself on the back because I respect where you're coming from. I just don't agree. Because I agree with you on one point, Wasted. I can't stand him talking to Kermit the Frog loser either. That's right, Terry. You're in there getting right. In the Smith, whether you're in the Smith machine or just a power cage, you should be wanting him to get slammed on his back. No, and Terry, look, I get it. He has to talk to these guys, right? He's a broadcaster. But if they're like cordially talking turkey and he's giving them tips and advice, get the F up out of here. The only tip he should be giving them is this. The tip of a middle finger. Believe me, to all the Raiders, I can't stand Tom Brady either. But the team looks a hell of a lot better since he's been here. I get it. And DeMokes, listen, let me tell you something, DeMokes. Let me tell you something right now. Tell you something right effing now. DeMokes, I'm not joking. You say one thing out of line, your ass is going to get blocked and sent to the gulags for good. DeMokes, I see the way you've been moving around the nation, man. You're about to get effing blocked. My guy Alpha Omega's in the place. You damn right. The Beast Coast is in here. Listen, you definitely got to clarify exactly what tip. That's right, DeMokes. Blocked. Blocked. You sit there and ponder, DeMokes. You effing bum. Gulags. Effing DeMokes. They're throwing people under the bus. Effing DeMokes. Yeah, man. But guys, listen. Look. And Anthony, look, man. I'm gonna be real with you here. You are another candidate that will be headed right to the gulags. Yeah, nah, DeMokes is he cool. He down by law. He good with me, man. I'm messing with DeMokes, man. Yo, so wait, you said Tip is crazy? Look, bro, I need you guys to understand. Yo, you gotta change that picture, bro. Yo, Bodega wasted you. Listen, I'm trying to tell you something, bro. Look, I'm all for the jokes of the game. You have got to change the picture of me looking like I'm enjoying my podcast that day way too much. that picture is insanity, yo. I can't believe. Yo, I don't even know if you like me or not, Bodega wasted. I mean, it's ridiculous.
God! Wow!
Ridiculous. But guys, man. Yo, and Jamba Juice too. Yo, I just got my text messages from yesterday too. I just was able to charge my phone. Phone wasn't charged up. And I saw what you said about me down there at OLV. Your crap. Tell how old I am and all this crap. Hey, Jamba Juice, let me tell you something, Jamba Juice. You look pretty old yourself, Jamba Juice. You trying to act like you some young whippersnapper, Jamba Juice. You are pretty damn. I don't know, Jamba. Look, if I was around when there was no lights, you were right along with me, Jamba. That boy looking like old shoe leather, talking crap. Effing bum. And shout out to my brother Halo Raider in a place to be, man. Halo, what it is, bro? You ain't no young man. You ain't no young man up there sipping your Metamucil, mainlining your Metamucil, Jamba Juice. The F up out of here. But my guy Alpha Omega, he said, how do you think we address the Christian Wilkinson right before the season start? I mean, bro, at this point, you got to let the depth be how you address everything at this point. Now, you know, there are some people that say the Raiders might make another move. There are people saying the Raiders might go out there and get Mike Hilton, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. When you're trying to establish the culture of a team, right, the main thing that you need to do is you need to see what you have with your draft class, right? You need to see if you hit. Look, J.J. Pegues and Tonka Hemingway and these guys, there is a reason why they double dipped at that position because they understood the assignment with Christian Wilkins. You can't tell me any different, right? I believe with defensive tackles, right? When you have guys that are athletic, you guys got guys that are strong and healthy. You have a scenario with like Lalu and all these guys where you can kind of have a rotation to keep those big guys fresh up front. And if you can keep those big guys fresh up front, you know, they can hold the line, hold the edge, hold the point of attack, you know, help Max out from getting double teamed, stuff like that. If you have a good rotation of solid guys, I think the Raiders don't really have to go out there and make a big swing to address that situation because we're not at that point right now. There are rumors. I don't know if it's true, and I gotta look. I've been out of the loop because of what happened around my house, but there are rumors that you get a guy like a Jadeveon Clowney going to the Philadelphia Eagles, right? That is the kind of move you make when you're there and you know that you're ready and you're viable to compete. But with the Raiders, I think the thing that's going to take the Raiders and elevate the Raiders is the play of every young player that was drafted in the last 3 years and actually kind of getting enough game film and enough snaps to see what you have. I don't think it takes 3 years to see whether you have a viable player at a position. I just don't. I think what happens is, you get in certain situations where you're able to, sit a young guy because you have an incumbent player that's better, right? But when you don't, and you have to play a young dude, for me, right? To me, I find that opportunity exciting. I find that opportunity an opportunity for the team to really grow. Because if you hit on these guys as rookies, you have probably the healthiest they're ever going to be and the cheapest they're ever going to be. And you might have the most productive years in the front end of their career. Now, there are other people who they're late bloomers and they get better as their career goes on. But if you're lucky enough to identify a starter, by the end of the season, when the team is starting to head into a playoff run, right, they're no longer rookies at that point. They're no longer rookies at that point. And to me, that is the genius of how you turn a program around relatively quickly. Yeah, and that too, Tease. By playing young guys and playing guys who were here for the last 3 years, you weed out the mistakes of Raider past. That is also something that you need to red circle. My guy, Terry McCaffrey, I appreciate the kind words, my brother. I said, we absolutely love what you do. You do a fabulous job. Keep up the great work, man. I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. And I forgot pay your bar tabs, everybody. Hey, listen, if Halo Raiders tell you to pay your bar tabs, you better darn well go out there and pay it. Hit the like button, darn it. So we almost got a 500 piece in the room, man. Almost 500 people in the room on a murky Monday. Man, a manic Monday after the 4th of July. People are out there blowing their hands off. It's sick and silly. It's crazy this weekend. Crazy. But listen, guys, there's a few things that I wanted to get into, right? The linebacker group. Now, we had a discussion the last time I was on. I think the last time I did a pod with Graf, right? I think we were talking about the linebacker room, and I'm going to be honest with you, right? There are a lot of people who are sleeping on some of these guys in that positional group. There are a lot of people that are being slept on in that positional group, man. And I'm going to tell you now, man. You got E-Rob. You got our guy Devin White. You have a situation where you are replacing two of the starting linebackers that you had last year, right? You're replacing Devon Diablo, who was an athletic, gifted guy, right? And one of the best Mike linebackers we've had in a very, very long time, and Robert Spillane. Now, there are a lot of people that are pissed off that we let them walk out of the door. I'm not. I think John Spytek did a masterful job. I think that, even though Spillane is going to be a huge loss, you cannot afford to pay Robert Spillane like he is, like he's Roquan Smith. You just can't do it. I'm sorry. You can't do it. It's organizational malpractice, right? So we go out, we bring in a Jermaine Pratt, who is going to be one of our starters, right? Now, I sit here and I shudder to think, right? Who's going to make this roster, right? How many of these guys are they going to keep? How many of these guys are they going to keep? Hold on, guys. I have to deal with something really quickly. I got to deal with something real quickly. It's my daughter with her crap. Hold on. I'm calling my daughter live on air. I'm calling my daughter live on it. I did not drink your water. Your mama drank it. Thank you. Do not blame me. I am live on air. We got almost 500 people in the room watching you. It was not me. You do not blame me, child. Listen, I am the bringer of the dope water in the house. Me. I am the water snob here. Not so listen, I am blaming your mother 100%. All right, baby. All right, love you, sweetheart. Yeah, man. My daughter blaming me. Crap. I ain't drink her damn water. Now look, we have a situation where you have a lot of good prospects, right? Now you got the young guys, you got Tommy Eichenberg, you have Amari Gaynor, right? Now, Amari Gaynor, you know, is a guy who played with his hand on the ground. He is a guy who looks the part, right? He didn't have a whole lot of snaps last year, right? But he is the guy that looks like a classic will linebacker, right? So if you think the Raiders are going to keep 4, maybe 5 of these guys, right? Because one of them could play special teams, right? For me, right, you know, they brought in E-Rob. They brought in Atlanta Roberts. You know, they paid him. He was one of their first free agent acquisitions. He's very, very versatile. I think Atlanta Roberts is definitely just done. Jermaine Pratt, they went out and traded for him and brought him in. Not traded for him, but they did bring him in, right? Jermaine Pratt's making a roster, right? Tommy Eichenberg was somebody who was not drafted by the Raiders. I mean, this iteration of the Raiders, right? Tommy Eichenberg is a guy that I'm gonna be real with you, right? I like Tommy Eichenberg, right? I like Tommy Eichenberg, and I felt like he was going to be kind of like the Robert Spillane of the future. The Robert Spillane of the future. That's what I was thinking, right? I thought Tommy Eichenberg, and I think I still do think he is super, super talented, right? Now, the thing is this, right? You have a guy like Devin White who has played at a Pro Bowl level, right? And he has, you know, he's 27 years old. So now you have like a little bit of a log jam, right? DeMo said, Blake, listen, you know why listen, I'm not blaming. I am telling the truth. Listen, this is the thing, right? It's this alkaline. Look, I'm gonna get off football. Let me just get into stuff's going on now. It's this alkaline water that we all like, right? I drink it when I go to the gym, right? So I always buy it for myself, right? We have Poland Spring in the garage and refrigerator, all that stuff. But the alkaline water, everybody likes is alkaline water. So I start drinking it, then everybody start drinking my water. And so my daughter said, Dad, I'm starting to, you know, revving up for college. I'm going to the gym. Give me some of that alkaline water. So I bought a case of it for me and her, and we split it. We split it, and I see my wife on the camera walking around. She's cooking on the grill, and I can see her on my camera on the phone drinking that water. So now, yes, that's exactly what it is. It is Watergate, right? And I'm not taking any blame from my daughter because she's about to go away, and I don't want to get on her bad side. That's my girl. Shout out to my guy Ira Jackson with the $10 smackaroonie wasted. Almost time for football. Let's go, Ira. Look, man. Bro, I'm like low key in a deep stage of depression because of the lack of football that is out there, bro. I was out there watching Canadian football. Bro, it's insane, dude. Like, I cannot wait. It's almost time. And I'm gonna be real with you, bro. It's to the point where, guys, what I need for you guys to do, I have another channel. I am rebranding this channel. There is going to be other football content down there for all of my guys who do daily fantasy, all of my guys who do long-term fantasy, all of my guys who are doing, just, DraftKings, all that stuff. We got the advice and the smack for you right down the dial. So I need you guys to go over to Sports Wasted and subscribe. I got a bunch of content that I'm going to upload. I've been working on some stuff, and we're rebranding the channel, and I hope that you guys enjoy what we do down there, man. My guy, Eichenberg definitely has shown improvement in his game and production on the field. It was just overshadowed by Spillane. He's definitely one you want to keep around. Now, Eichenberg, to me, is a guy that really could be the green dot. Like a lot of these guys, like with the Pratts of the world, the Devin Whites of the world, all these guys, you can keep all of these guys. You can have someone play Will and Sam. They can rotate. The thing is, when you have a situation like Patrick Graham, right? I think a lot of the times Patrick Graham stayed in his sub packages more because he didn't have the level of talent at the linebacker position that he has now. He only really had Robert Spillane. He had like the land of misfit toys at linebacker last year, rookies and stuff like that. I think now that he has guys that have been productive in this league, now you have a situation where you don't always have to be in sub packages, and that's going to lend itself to Pete Carroll kind of lending a hand to Patrick Graham and curating what happens on that field. I think having linebackers on the field helps you against the run. It helps the middle of the field a lot better. It helps you to be a more physical brand and a more hitting and attacking style defense. Because when you got these small defensive backs out there, you're kind of playing that cover three, bend don't break defense. And listen to me, that's not the style of football and defense that I enjoy. I enjoy an attacking defense. I enjoy a team that is going to hit you, that's going to punish runners and make people think twice about going over the middle. Make people think twice and make business decisions when they're running the football. This is the type of defense that I want here, right? And I think we're trending towards that with guys like E-Rob and Pratt and guys, especially Atlanta Roberts. Atlanta Roberts is a thumper. Devin White is a thumper. Devin White, you could put him at the will. He can rush the passer. He's athletically talented, and he's been dealing with some foot injuries, some lower extremity injuries for the last few years. And I think if you get a healthy Devin White, he might be the bull of the woods, as the American Dream Dusty Rose used to say. He might be the bull of the woods. Yeah, Tease. I'm down bad if I'm watching Canadian football. My guy, Ira Jackson, blessing the masses with 5 Raider Nation Unlimited memberships for the masses. If you got one from Ira Jackson, thank the great and powerful Ira Jackson for coming and blessing this channel, bro. Appreciate you for keeping the lights on here at Raider Nation Unlimited, my bro. And my guy James White is right. James, don't you try to hide. It's not. It's the new James White. He goes at age 27, he should be headed into his prime, and that's right, especially if he's healthy. Now, see, this is the guy that I think could be the odd man out in this situation. This is Amari Gaynor, right? The idea of Amari Gaynor is better than what he actually put out on the field, right? Amari Gaynor could be the guy that's the odd man out. Now, we all want it because of the potential. We see the build. We see the athleticism. But Amari Gaynor is not a guy that they have a whole lot invested in. They have a lot more. Like, when you start talking about who's going to make the roster and who's not going to make the roster, you got to start looking at contracts. You got to look at, follow the contract, right? Pratt, E-Rob, Devin White is a guy that's also on the brink, right? Jalen Smith is gone. You know what I'm saying? You have to start thinking about these things. You got to start. And Eichenberg is a guy who was a premium draft pick and a young guy. A young guy. You have to start thinking from that prism. My guy Ira Jackson gifting 10 more Smackaroonies. 10 more Raider Nation Unlimited memberships. Oh my God. It is a membership free-for-all up in here. And my guy, David Walker, Nork's very own, gifted 5 Raider Nation Unlimited Wasted Time memberships. Yo, I love to see my brother from the Brick City in the place to be. You know what I love, man? I love to see people from my city and, you know, people from, you know, my home state supporting the channel, bro. Because I've been running into a lot of y'all out there, man, and it's dope to run into people who support the channel, man. Salute to everybody out there, bro. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you, bro. Now, listen, when you start talking about Amari Gainer, the idea of what Amari Gainer can be from an athletic standpoint, you would think he would make the roster, right? But I don't necessarily know if Amari Gainer is more athletic than Devin White. I don't necessarily, you know, listen, Landon Roberts is an older guy, and I get it. But listen, man, Devin White is a dog. And I know a lot of people, oh, this wasted love, Devin White. Look, listen, Eichenberg is a dog. He's a linebacker by trade. And I think the thing with Tommy Eichenberg is the fact that he understands the craft of being a linebacker. Now, listen, guys, there are so many things. There are so many things, man, that this team has kind of improved on, right? But and this is just from a visceral surface level, right? Because we don't necessarily know whether it's an improvement or not, right? Every season, the Raiders go and make moves, and us as fans, us as pundits of the Raiders, we sit here and we say this is an improvement. They lost here, they did that. We don't know till the season starts, right? So there are certain people who would say, yo, and do me a favor. If one of my mods are in the chat, do me a favor. 241, you guys, could you guys going over to Sports Wasted and put the link to join right in the bottom of the chat? Could you please do that? But listen, I kind of lost my way right here. When you start talking about where the team improved on paper, we can go right up and down the list, right? So let's go quarterback down. Quarterback, improvement. Done. Running back, that room is improved as a whole, and not just from drafting Aston Genty. The room as a whole improved. The tight end room this year improved because you have Big Mike Mayer back in the place to be. And he's focused, ready, healthy, and he's going to be utilized and used. And you have a Brock Bowers that is a year wiser, a year stronger, a year more tuned in. So the tight end room has improved, right? I feel that the wide receiver room, based off of where the team was last year till now, has improved because you have a guy like Dante Thornton that is a unique talent. There's only been a few players that are his height, weight, and speed that have been in this league ever, right? This guy is a guy that has the measurements of a Randy Moss, and I don't necessarily think that he's Randy Moss, right? I mean, who is? We talk about one of the 4 best players ever play that position. But for you to have that kind of talent in Jack Besh, along with the Jacoby Myers and the Trey Tucker that you had last year, you have gotten better exponentially at wide receiver. Head coach was a humongous improvement. Shout out to my guy, Raider Paul. Definitely, right? I think the linebacker position has improved. I think they made a real commitment to, and I know you guys are saying, well, yo, wasted. We lost Spill, right? But we also lost Divine Diablo chasing people down from behind the tackle and not hitting people at the point of attack. I think the linebacker room as a whole, I think you have, as opposed to having 2 startable linebackers, I think now you have about 5, right? I think, man, the safety room, I got to put a pin in the safety room, right? Because we lost Marcus Epps. We lost Marcus Epps. And Marcus Epps was a big, and listen, if I'm honest, Trayvon Merrick is not, you know, a great safety. We couldn't pay him like he was, But Trayvon Merrick is a starting level top 15 to 16 guy, right? I think our offensive line got better. 100% offensive line got better because you have a year wiser DJ Glaze, Jackson Powers Johnson, and they have committed to leaving Jackson Powers Johnson and DJ Glaze exactly where they are, right tackle and center. Done. You have a healthier Dylan Parham, right? You went out there, got some good backups in Alex Capper. You have another year wiser, another year better Jordan Meredith, right? And you have a healthier Colton Miller. Now, the Colton Miller situation is very, very weird. And then now you have Caleb Rogers, who might take one of those starting positions, right? Great young physical guy that played tackle in college that's being converted to guard, and that spells trouble for the rest of the league. And listen, Charles Grant, listen, the Raiders got better in the trenches. They got better in the trenches. Now, where they have taken a step back in the sense that we have to see is the defensive line. Now, the defensive line is supposed to be the premier group of this team. It's supposed to be the engine of this football team because Max Crosby's over there. He is the heart and soul of this organization, right? But I have to put a pin on how that team looks. Now, you got a healthy Malcolm Kuntz coming back, right? And most people will say, hey, wait, so well, that means that we've improved. The thing is, I don't really know what Malcolm Kuntz is. Just based off of him having, listen, we've seen this a million times as Raider fans, right? And I might be going back far for you guys, but there are a lot of players who have one good year with the Raiders and we get excited and then we come back and it's not so good, right? So I still need to see what I need to see from Kuntz coming back from that injury. I got to see if he is able to overcome that injury, right? And then we also need to see whether the experiment of Tyree Wilson has worked out. Now, I didn't see him at the SAC Summit. I don't know if I'm wrong about that because I just went and kind of looked at the highlights and things like that. But I didn't see Tyree Wilson at the SAC Summit. Now, listen, it's the offseason. It's his personal life. I could not disrespect him and say, but I mean, if anybody should have been there, it should have been him, right? Should be him, right? Now, listen, when we talk about Jeremy Chin is a damn good safety. And for Pete Carroll and what he likes to do, I can't necessarily call him a unequivocal upgrade. A slam dunk lead pipe lock of a player over Merrick. Because Merrick, listen, man, Merrick was no superstar, but Merrick is a starting guy. He's kind of at the same level of Chin, even though he have like different games. Like Jeremy Chin had a damn good year for the Washington Commanders, right? He did. But the thing is this, right? I can't unequivocally say that he is totally better than Merrick. I can't say that just yet. My guy with the wildest name in the history of YouTube, T-Nipple 20. I don't know. Respectfully disagree on the D-line. Kuntz, regardless, is a plus. Tyree, another year of development. Ket Butler. I like Tonga and Pegues. I think they'll be solid. See, this is the reason why I got pushed back on you. If you are operating under the guys that Christian Wilkins, because last year, Christian Wilkins and Butler started. And then you lost, you had John Jenkins. You had some guys that have been productive in this league, bro. Right? So I can't, if I have no Christian Wilkins, how can I say this defensive line got better? How can I say that? And I can't say that I know that Malcolm Kuntz is going to be Malcolm Kuntz yet. Now, I think one mistake that the Raiders are doing is the fact that they're not taking advantage of the fact that Colton Miller clearly wants to be a Raider and signing him on a team-friendly trapdoor of a deal. And that's the problem. My guy, Ira Jackson, I had jury duty today, didn't get picked, and made a hot $25. Feeling generous with my wealth. Enjoy. Ira Jackson, bro, I appreciate you, bro. And I appreciate you for keeping the lights on here in this channel, brother. You always do. You know what I'm saying? And listen, man, I'm so glad you didn't get picked with jury duty because, man, let me tell you, jury duty is the pits. I hope I never get picked. Buck Nasty's in the place, too. Shout out to a legend from the Play Haters Ball. Buck Nasty is in here right now. He goes, damn, I'm late. Just making it in. Shout out to you, Wasted. Shout out to you, too, Buck Nasty. Shout out to you, too. And man, let me tell you something, man. Buck Nasty, I just put some water in your mama's bowl. Jeremy Chin will be what we wanted Abram to be. Still wouldn't mind kicking the tires on Justin Simmons. I wouldn't either. But the thing that kind of concerns me is why is Justin Simmons out there floating around in neither? Well, there must be something behind the scenes that we don't know about, because this is a guy who played at an all-pro level, and he's just floating out there like the trash in the East River. I mean, is it a contract thing? Because right at this point, he's went around free agency, back, up, down, and now he's just sitting out there waiting. I mean, the man is literally sitting there like Will Smith waiting for Uncle Nick to come pick him up. Or Uncle Nate, or whatever the F his name was. Ben Vereen himself. Raider. See, the thing is, Tyree Wilson's problem to me, as I can see, is his first step, and the fact that he doesn't get low enough. Now, theoretically, you would want him to play because, like, he's a big dude, man. He reminds me of, like, Eric Armstead and guys like that, right? But the thing is he physical enough? His bull rush has been his strong point. So, yes, he should play it. You know, they should have packages where they're all three of them on the field. But the thing is this, right? You always have those players that you think should be better than they are. This is a guy where it's not his fault. That's why I don't attack Tyree Wilson. You know, it's not his fault that they drafted him that high and they probably should have took Jalen Carter. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. Right? The Raiders in their infinite wisdom thought that Jalen Carter was a problem. The guy was just really drag racing. He really, you know, to me, somebody got killed and we can't make light of that. Right? You know, but young men make bad decisions all the time, right? Who amongst us can say that we didn't make a dumb decision when we were those guys' age? And they get millions of dollars and NIL money and all this notoriety and all this praise and stuff. And a lot of times we forget the perspective, you know, that a lot of these kids that are in the National Football League, and I call them kids is because I am a man of a certain age. A lot of these kids are people who are young enough to be your sons. Think about the things you did at 21 and 22 years old. And I know it's easy for me to sit here on my soapbox and scold the Raiders brass for not drafting Carter, right? Because they're the ones who got to cut that check and their jobs are on the line. And I think we also lose like kind of perspective with that too, right? But if I'm being honest, right, Tyree Wilson, I don't think any other team in the National Football League would have taken him that high. I don't know that to be true. There are some people that say that people thought Tyree Wilson was a dude and people were in on him and all this and that. But look, man, Tyree Wilson, a top 20 pick, you damn right, just for the measurables. A top 10 pick, no way. No way in the world, man. You could have got a corner there. So, look, Tyree Wilson gets a lot of blame. There's a lot of hate from Raider Nation, and I don't think it's just. I don't think it's just. But my thing is this, like my man J. Rose said, the Raiders are about to F around and find out what it means to not pay their left tackle, right? The Raiders are going to F around and find out a few things, right? They're going to F around and find out whether Tyree Wilson can play. Hook, crook, shoot, or ladder. They're going to figure that out. The Raiders, by hook or crook, need to shit to get off the pot with Colton Miller. If they're not going to pay Colton Miller and they're going to let him play with no guaranteed money throughout this season, you know, if you don't sign him when you can kind of control his bird rights, I think you're going to be in a situation as a team where you're going to have a ham no burger situation where you let him walk out of the building because you didn't feel like he was up to your standard. But who is the standard bearer that comes in after he goes? You know? Daniel Kim, Tyree doesn't have a first move. Bull rush isn't a move. There's no contrast in speed. Bro, you got to let the kid develop, right? Everybody doesn't develop right off the bat. He doesn't. So let's let the guy develop, man. This is his first full offseason just being totally healthy. Let's see what he's learned. And Demokes, he says, I tell girls I'm 5'11", but I'm still developing my height. Demokes, you are not 5. Demokes, you would know you are 4'3". Get the F up out of here. You're damn right. The great and powerful Buck Nasty's in the place, y'all. The word is competition. People will finally earn their minutes instead of what we had in the recent years. The favoritism is gone, and that's true. And the thing that I like about what Pete Carroll did, and I like what Spytek did, they went and they're building the Raiders house like how a master flipper of homes does. There are some people who buy property and they go right in and they just gut the place and they put all new things down and they don't keep anything and their costs run high and all that. And you have other flippers who go in there and it's like, hey man, siding is pretty good. The roof's all right. Let's keep that. Kitchen needs to be done. Let's allocate our resources into that kitchen. Damn it. That's what's going to sell a house. Hey, put a little paint here, right? Because that can be improved. We don't need to knock no walls down, right? Let's put a floating floor around here. Let's get this thing sold. That's what the Raiders are doing. They're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater and trying to build it from 1 to 53 right out the gate. And I love it, man. Wasted. I would like to see Gaynor being a speed rusher on third. He did it at Florida State. Yes. He did it at North Carolina too before he got to Florida State and transfer. Yes, he did. But see, this is the thing, bro. You got a situation where you have guys like White. You got guys like even Jalen Smith is probably not going to make the roster, but you got guys that have played at a high level that are in that positional group, Dave. And I know that he's young, but you got Eichenberg, right? So it's like, do you have a room full of young whippersnappers at linebacker? You know, Pratt is a guy who's been very productive in this league. You know, and you can only, how many of these guys you're going to carry? I got George Cotinez in a place, man, where they should. Trey Taylor just needs to play more moxie. He's just into his second year. Let the kid play. Yeah, man, he didn't get a lot of burn last year. He's going to play. He's going to definitely play, man. He's going to definitely play. The thing we got to pray for is two things. We got to pray for the health of the team, right? Because injuries are a part of the game of football, right? Let's hope that we can get that injury bug away from this team, right? We got to hope that we keep Geno upright, protect him more than he's been protected in Seattle. We got to also pray that these young wide receivers develop and blossom right before our eyes. We got to pray that Ashton Genty gets the kind of blocking that he needs. But moreover, we need to pray that Tyree Wilson takes that other end spot from Malcolm Koonce. I would prefer for Tyree Wilson to develop and take that position in a real way and allow Malcolm Koonce to go see the 50 states. Now, that's unless Malcolm Koonce goes nuts and has like 18 sacks this year, right? But if he's going to play to the back of his baseball card and he even has 6 or 7 sacks, right, I would prefer to keep the guy that was in the first round. And maybe we can keep them both. But, yo, it makes the organization, it kind of sends a cloud, even though it wasn't their pick and the guys who are here now, it puts a cloud over the organization when they put those, and that's just for me, when they put up those infographics of what happened back in drafts past and all of this kind of crap. You know? But, like, you know, with linebacker, man, and like we were talking, right? You know, how are the Raiders going to keep? How are they going to address the linebacker position? That is one of the key positional groups in this team, man. You got guys that played at an all-pro level. And we got to hope that these guys can rekindle that. But not sign Colton Miller goes against everything the Raiders have been doing, building a team with players that are leaders and want to be Raiders. Colton Miller has been a great leader. And Colton Miller is spelled with a K, my brother, I think. Is he? Is it not? I don't think it is. I'm an idiot. But look. No, it is spelled with a K. It's Kolton, Colton. Yeah, I'm not an idiot. But listen, I'm gonna be real with you, man. It does if you think that Colton Miller has a see, we don't know what his health is like, right? We don't know what the Raiders' plans is for Grant. The Raiders might think they have a dude in Grant. Right. So basically, they're going to let that contract expire by attrition and move on. Or maybe they have a clear understanding of what the free agent pool will be looking like in that next season. Just trying to pry trade Henderson for the Bengals since they don't want to pay the man, bro. It sounds good, but now we're playing Madden at that point. We're playing Madden at that point. I think before we go outside of the building, we need to address the issues inside of the building before we go outside of it. I mean, if all things being 100%, that's how I feel. And I'm praying that Tyree Wilson takes the next step, like my man Terry McCaffrey said. I really hope Tyree Wilson takes his next step forward because it will really change his defense big time if he does. Yes, a guy with that height, weight, and speed, right? Big, rangy guy that you drafted, panning out. It's music to my effing ears, man. We got Ed Wasted. What do you think about bringing another defensive tackle or maybe trade it for one? What's your take on that? Listen, anything short of bringing in Vita, I say we stand pat and develop the guys we got in the building. I'm huge on development this year because I'm not expecting anything. I'm expecting to see a better, more coherent product just by virtue of the fact that Pete Carroll is in the building. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about, knowing what we have. So when we sit up here and we breaking the draft down next year, we know what we got in the building. We know we got to be. I get tired of hearing about all of these players that are stashed away for this glorious time where they'll get out there and represent the silver and black and play great. I want my winning now. I want it now. I want the payoff now. I want Jack Best to have 800 yards, 900 yards a year. I want Ashton Genty to run for 16, 1700 yards. Like this, I want it now, bro. I'm not willing to wait. I know we bantered back and forth. Love the show, Wasted. Appreciate you, DeMokes. Appreciate you for always adding absolutely nothing to the show. Get the F up out of here, DeMokes. Have a great night. But then I want you to do me a favor and have a effing terrible night.
Shut your lame ass up, nigga.
F up out of here, DeMokes. Yo, the Bengals can't sign anyone. They overpaid 2 wide receivers deservedly, but they didn't need to max both of them out, and now they're screwed and can't even pay Henderson, who's an all-pro. Crazy work. And I'm going to be honest with you. I feel you, but that's none of our business. I'm minding the business that pays me. The Raiders is the only business I give a damn about. I can give an F about the Bengals and who they paid and who they did it. Thank you. Thank you. I hate everything about you and only you and anyone that looks like you. Wasted. I'm hoping beyond hope that we don't lose much when we rotate players. The depth is the key to our success. And I think that's one of the big reasons why people are not anointing the Raiders. A lot of the fan bases, but the media, some people are kind of grifting, but now that we're getting closer to the season, they're going to have their assessment of the Raiders come a little bit closer to what they really think. And if I'm being honest, right, the Raiders' problem when you start looking 1-53 is a depth issue. It's depth. They need more depth. And they do need to bring in a player or two, if I'm being honest, right? Just for that particular reason. But if you're going to go out there and you're going to draft these guys, you let them play. And the only thing that I'm willing and the only thing that's civilized for me is bringing in a Vita. You could bring in a Vita, and I don't think he's available. But if you could bring in a Vita, that's a little different. That's an all-pro guy. And then those guys, those pups can sit there and learn. But if you're going to go out there and go bring, Joe Slappy in, listen, don't even bother. Don't even bother. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, man. The time to win is now. I want mine now. What is my expectation? That we win our division? No, my expectation is that Raiders win between 8 to 10 games. That's my expectation. And wherever that takes them, it takes them. But I want to see a 4 to 5 game improvement just based off of how the season went, based on the fact that we got a better quarterback, and based on the fact that we got a damn good Hall of Fame level coach. And I think we have a weaker AFC West. There's a lot of moves that have been made on paper, and guys but you got a lot of guys in the AFC West, man, like Patrick Mahomes. He's a great player, right? But I think a lot of his weapons aren't on the same page as him yet. Now, if they get on the same page, and we're going to be in trouble. Guys like Worthy and all them guys, Hollywood High Stakes Brown, all them bums. Said Aaron Donald, he's not available, yo. But wasted. What people fall in at is based on what the new management is saying. They want to win now. Yeah, they want to win now. But you gotta, bro, no matter what's being said, you gotta look at the reality of the situation. The reality is that, yo, we haven't really won anything in a very, very long time, and we're in the toughest division in football, and we're in a tough conference, and we have a tough schedule, and it's the first year of them establishing everything. And it takes more than 1 year to establish a culture. To succeed, you must first learn how to fail, right? And I'm not saying I want to see the Raiders fail all season, but I'm not expecting the Raiders to make this magical run to the Super Bowl and through the playoffs. I mean, it's a team that has not won a playoff game since 2002. Some of you that are drinking age were not even born the last time we won a playoff game. So, look, gotta crawl before you walk. And I've been along for the ride the whole time. But you gotta crawl before you walk, man. And if we win, that's a plus. Great. Man. Appreciate you too, brother. But yo, guys, we are 111 minutes in. Guys, I really appreciate every single one of y'all. Which one of my mods are in the chat, yo? Could one of my mods do me that favor to go get the link to Sports Wasted? Sports Wasted, baby. I gotta find it over here. You know, it's crazy. It's sick and silly here. I gotta effing find it. I gotta find the great and powerful Wasted Talents other channel. Gotta find it. Sports effing Wasted, my man. I can't do it right now, but one of you guys put that in the chat. Guys, go over there, hit that subscribe button. It's time for us to pull the train into the train station right now. Wait, any schedule you do lives? Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna do lives. We're gonna do all crap, a lot of stuff over there. A lot of fantasy football, banter and stuff. But this is the main channel. It's the mothership. We're gonna be here. I am gonna be getting back to being more active with my lives. A lot of stuff starting to calm down for me and the family. So yo, we are about to get rocking and rolling. We're gonna get more surgical here. Raider Nation Unlimited. Very, very surgical. Why can't the Raiders do that and make a jump just like how the Chargers did with Harbaugh? What's the difference? Look, it remains to be seen what the difference is, right? I think that the Chargers didn't actually need as much as we did. I think we did more of a retooling than the Chargers did. And if I'm being honest, right? You know, we're the Raiders, right? You know, I think a lot of what went on here was just a little different. I don't think the Chargers were as far away as we were. And the thing is, they didn't really make a huge jump. They made it to the playoffs and got their asses kicked. It's Sports Wasted, DeMarcus. You know, but guys, look, I think it's about that time, man. We're gonna pull this train to the train tracks. I am getting tired. I've had a rough weekend, but you know, I could not go another few days without reaching out to the masses over here, Raider Nation Unlimited. Love and respect every single one of you. Anybody who sent a super, who did a membership. I mean, anybody who supported. Dude, anything that y'all have done for this channel, man, I really, really appreciate it, man. Really, really appreciate it. And I hope that, you know, you guys are going to continue to ride along with the Wasted Talent Army. And my guy, Graham Cam, hooked it up, man. Sports Wasted. There it goes. Go on over there. Subscribe. We're going to have that gambling content, that fantasy football content. It is going to be sick and silly. Guys, let's get out of here. If I can, I will go live again tomorrow. We got to get back to it over here. Share this thing out to all social media. You guys have a terrific night. And the wasted word of the day. We didn't have it today, but guess what? We'll have one tomorrow. And you guys know, like I always say,
yesterday's price is not today's price.
Get out of here, everybody. You guys have a great effing night. We are out of here, baby.